Alright, what's up, gang? Today we're going to talk about what everybody's been talking about for the last week or so. Yes, the Roger Jackson incident. So, too long didn't read. Roger Jackson did go too far. I'm not saying that, but Stu did have it coming. You can't go up to somebody, smack him in the head with a beer bottle, get in their face, and expect it to be all good. You know, shoots. I wouldn't walk up to John Jones and hit him with a pie in the face and just be like, it's just a prank, bro, and expect everything to be copacetic. No, I fully expect to wake up in the hospital. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I woke up in the hospital room, you know what I mean? And I would have that one coming. People with all their bad takes are either not knowledgeable about violence, never been in a fight before, a real fight, a lot of maybe they're even a little bit racist. I think the biggest thing is that people like to be able to talk it from a safe place. I call it the foghorn leghorn syndrome. We like to antagonize the dog, not to say anybody's a dog here. And that's another thing. They're really trying to dehumanize them, call them an animal and stuff. I'm just using this foghorn leghorn example. He likes to mess with the dog. He knows how far he can get and standing lying like ha 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 ha. But hey, sometimes the dog can erase the line and then redraw it, and then you think you're safe, and then it gets you, and then you can't say nothing. Or, you know, I don't like the way Roger did it though. If it was me, the second like that beer can hit my head, I would have been on his jaw. This would have been across his jaw. And that's just how it is. I don't even have to think about it. It's by itself. And if you look at the video carefully, as soon as the beer can hits his head, that is Roger's immediate reaction. He goes and like that for just a microsecond, and then he pulls it back. And then Rampage says later in the video, I told my son not to hit people because he knows he's a pro fighter. He knows he's not allowed to do this. There's a certain switch that's flipped when you're in a fight. It's like breaking the glass on the alarm, and then all the rules of normal society are suspended. Now it's just about fighting. Nothing else matters. Time doesn't exist. Nothing. You know, it's really a great feeling, to be honest with you. It's like you feel free for that minute. It feels like Vin Diesel always talking about, like, I live a quarter mile at a time. And that is what it feels like. During that time, nothing else matters. And yes, when you have all this pent up rage, it takes a lot of it takes a lot of self control to stop this automatic response. We don't even think about it. Real fighters, we don't think about it. It hits all by itself, just like how Bruce Lee says. But like a different part of your brain, I think it's like the front part of your brain, the frontal lobe. It tries to control the back part of your brain, which is control for motor response. It really does put a lot of strain on your brain when you're doing that. I've been like, anybody who knows what it's like to have somebody constantly poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear, and then one day you unleash and explode, and then you're the bad guy. Then you're in the cuffs. Then you have questions on you. Everybody's like, why you do that? Like, listen, most people are not fighters. We have the fight, flight, and there's even more than fight or flight. There's also fawn and freeze, the 4 Fs. So fighters, we're gonna fight. Flighters, they're gonna run. So in times of danger, the flighters, they get to have their response. They get that impulse out, and after that they feel okay because they were able to do their flight response. It's done. It's relieved from the body. But if you're a fighter, you're always pulling the brakes on it. You're always pulling the brakes on it. You're always pulling the brakes on it. and it really does a lot taxing on your system. It prematurely ages you. I feel it like right here. I have to maybe like a neuro anybody who does neuroscience could probably explain that probably better. But that's how it is. It just like zzzz, like sparks flying, trying to hold it back, you know? And yeah, I've been into some stuff with like people just being very disrespectful, getting in my face and pushing and pushing. People like to mess with you from a safe place, you know? And then my downstairs neighbor at my old place, he was a big violator. Like this guy would do all kinds of stuff to make me angry. He would mess with me every day when I'm coming in and out of my building. He smokes cigarettes in the front, even though he knows I don't like cigarette smoke going up in my apartment. And he even does stuff like he'll just to spite, he'll smoke the cigarette and then he'll make a bunch of noise, bang, 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 bang. And then I open the door to investigate, hit with a big cloud of smoke. And then one day, like, he was messing with me, and I kind of snapped with one leg. I've been in an accident with a broken leg. One leg. I just hopped down the stairs, and I cornered him in there, and he's like still getting in my face, being like, so like this hand, it was like the biggest nerve impulse control I've had in my life. I'm really proud of myself because my brain was just like, it wasn't even thinking. It was just like doing the action. It was just like, and you know how Rampage Jackson says when he gets angry, he has like unlimited strength, like when he powerbombed Verona. I really do felt like unlimited strength. I felt like I would hit him so hard it would have broke his jaw, gave him brain damage, and then once the levee is broken, there's no pulling back, like none. Like, and I like you're still able to calculate stuff when you're in fight mode. You're able to calculate things. Your spatial awareness is heightened. I knew that nobody would be able to pull me off of him. By the time it takes like a real man to get to the scene, police are gonna take like at least 6 minutes. Maybe like the regular neighbors, women, old people, they wouldn't be able to pull me off of him. And just the way the cars were parked, I would be beating him down between those cars, and nobody would be able to stop me until he was dead. Like maybe like it would take like some of the like eventually the response time of a real man, maybe one of the bigger neighbors who like is actually like a real man, knows how to fight and stuff. Only they would have been able to maybe have a chance at getting me off of them, and it probably would take multiple people, multiple men, like to get me off of him. And by that time, it would have been too late. He would have been toast over. And it was really one of the biggest tests of my life to not do it. But that took many years of practice. Roger's like 25, right? I'm 44 now. So, I was 43 at the time of the incident. It took me many years of controlling that nerve impulse to not do it, to not do it. And yeah, I mean, when I was like little, my little brother used to tease me all the time and bother me when I'm just like watching TV and stuff. Like one time I came back from school, in Living Color was in TV back in the 90s. It was the Shabba Ranks episode, I remember. And I sat down and I'm like, yes, I've been waiting all day, all week to watch this, right? That's how it was in the 90s. And then this guy came and like bothered me. And then I'm trying to watch Mr. Ugly Man on TV, right? And I remember I was sitting on my leg like this. I was sitting down like this, right? With my foot under me. And then I just blacked out for a second and I just gave him the mother of all up kicks right to his ugly face. Blood everywhere. I'm the bad guy. I felt bad about it afterwards, but he had that one coming. You know, You can't keep on messing with people and not expect nothing to happen. He's always doing that. I'll be watching Tom and Jerry come and like bother me by the door, and run away, hide behind his mom's skirt, literally. I did get him another time really bad. One time I just like took his face and I shoved, and he cut up all his eye on a speaker, one of those old school speakers, back in the 80s, 90s, right? That was pretty bad, right? So it took, and then like another time, I was also being bullied by my older sister all my whole life. She's a real bitch, right? And she gets away with it. What's even worse is she's slick about it. So she's always getting away with it. And one time I was like 18, and she had already wrecked her car from, being an idiot. And she decides she's gonna take my car today, and I have to go and like get dropped off at school all the way on this other side of town, or ride the bus, ride 3 buses on the way back, some bullshit like that, right? So I'm like, nah, you can ride the bus. I'm taking my car and living my life, right? And then she's manipulative. My mom's a pushover. The both of them gang up on me. So I'm like, take the damn keys. I'm going back to sleep. I'm not going to school today. I'm not going to go to school all late and shit. Same freaking difference. Go all the way across town just to walk in there, look like a horse's ass in front of everybody. I'll get my assignments from my friends tomorrow. But that wasn't good enough. She has to go and dig me while I'm in the bed. So she won't let me sleep. She's all acting ratchet in my room and shit. So I try to avoid it. I get up. I'm walking to the living room. She corners me in the corner and gets all in my face, acting real ghetto, raising her voice, telling me all kind of bad stuff. Anything insulting, emasculating. I'm stupid. I'm this. I'm that, and this. And she's all like, you know how ghetto girls do that thing, like all in your face, like motherfucker, you ain't shit, and this and that, and like all that shit all up in my face. I'm like, I'm not a good morning person. Morning is like the worst. Like I'm not even fully awake, and I have all that teenage testosterone built up overnight. In the morning, your testosterone is the highest. My intention was just to shove her away. But with all that built up rage, maybe like 18 years of getting bullied by this bitch, and maybe other people who fuck with me, it's just like I blacked out. I launched her across the living room. And then she landed on the fireplace ledge and like started crying, and I'm the bad guy, right? You know. So the point is, it takes many years to develop that impulse control. Um, and whenever you're like in a state like where your cognitive abilities have been weakened, you can't expect people to like be able to hold back that impulse. Like another time, I was like, well, we're around the same age, maybe a couple years later, right? Me and my friends were hanging out, right? We drink beer and stuff, and hang out in the parking lot of my friend's house, driveway, not the parking lot, right? Not that it makes a difference, still a PI either way if you're in public view, but we were kids, that's what we did. And I had this one friend, he always had a thing where he would kind of raise his leg up on me, try to punk me and stuff, and this and that, and that, try to big brother me all the time, right? And I didn't really like it, right? And then we're drinking and stuff and going back and forth. I was being gassed up by the other friends, and I got the idea in it. Like I felt disrespected, so like I took it upon myself to pour a beer over his head, right? And next thing I know, I felt boom across my face. I lost it. I just swang back at him. People got between us and stuff, and I was like really pissed off I didn't get my lick back, right? And yeah, like, so I was irate for like a long time. Even the whole night they tried to calm us down, buy more beers. Our friend group leader, he was like, well, I'll buy the beers, and he never buys beer. And in the car ride, they were like, we can cut the tension with a knife. It didn't calm down until the next day. Next day, he apologized to me. And then I'm like, yeah, I was just more mad that I didn't get my hit back, And he's like, You did though. He's like, you did. Like I felt that shit like, and everybody's like, yeah, you knocked the shit out of him. You knocked him on the hood of the car. And I'm like, I didn't feel it, right? I didn't feel. I thought I missed. I thought I missed, right? But then I later on learned, like, from like listening to baseball players, they talk about like when they hit that home run hit, they don't feel nothing through the bat. It's just a perfect transference of energy, right? So like that, and Michael Venom Page says something similar. He says like when he hit that devastating knee on Cyborg, that jump knee that like caved up his whole skull. He says he was expecting like afterwards to have like some bruising and some pain on his leg or something like that. He's like, there's nothing at all. Complete perfect transference of energy. And I bet if you interview a lot of like fighters and stuff, they'll tell you the same thing. Like that perfect punch, that perfect knockout punch, they didn't even feel it. So like I think like that has something to do with it too. It's like, but anyways, the point is it takes a long time to be able to control that nerve impulse. Ex- Especially if you have all that built up rage from being like a quiet reserved person and people think they can mess with you. Especially when you like look like kind of like a tough guy, but they think you're mentally weak, they think you're a pussy or whatever, and they think you're the one to mess with. So it's like a great thing for them. I'm like, this guy is big and scary looking, but he's a bitch. They think he's a bitch, so I can punk him and look good in front of everybody. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And yeah, so Roger Jackson, I mean, he was concussed a couple days before. I mean, um, so like his mental faculties were not really like fully there. He was like throwing up all morning and stuff like that. He shouldn't have went out there. He should have stayed home. There were some people on the kick stream who told him good advice to like go to the doctor and stuff like that. He's like, for sure I'll go to the doctor on Monday, right? And but he still went on the kick stream. It was because the guy who he thought was his friend, he's like I'm gonna go support my friend. It's gonna be funny. I'm gonna have a good laugh. Whatever, right? Watching pro wrestlers and stuff like that, right? And when he gets to the event, like look how many people touch him as soon as he walks through the door. I went through the video and counted the amount of times people like put their hands on him, just touching him, touching him, touching him, touching him, touching him, touching him, grabbing him, touching him. He don't really say nothing about that, but people don't like that. You know, I don't like that. You don't see him touching people. No, he's a very respectful person. He keeps his hands to himself, like how we were taught in kindergarten. These people be like Selena Gomez, can't keep their hands to themselves. And he don't say nothing about it, but all that little stuff gets it's registering, even if on a subconscious level. And yeah, like where was I going with that? So let's just go through the thing. So he goes in there, he goes backstage, where he's not supposed to be. You know, I think Jim Cornette has a really good take on that about like how independent promotions are run. He's like the only people backstage are like people who actually work there. If public's not allowed back there, even the police are not allowed to go back there. But this is a shit run place. And and I don't fully buy that he thought that Roger was a wrestler. Because if you just look at it, it's obviously looks like a fan, a fan who's backstage and meeting the wrestlers because he's like talking about like, oh, you're my favorite, fuck that other guy, ha ha ha. And, and he's asking about like the different guys, like Great McKill, is he here? And then like just watch the body language. A lot of people are not good at reading body language, but watch the body language of this Stu character. He walks up there like just very like arrogant and stuff, and walks up to him and then inserts himself in the conversation. Like, you don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about. So like, and he's like, no, just like I don't give a crap who you are, and this and that. Like, who's this guy, right? And then he takes it upon his. He puts his hand on his head like that and smashes a beer can across it. Listen, in the Asian culture, touching the top of somebody's head is incredibly disrespectful. It's incredibly disrespectful. Yeah, right? And he smashes the beer can, and and then he kind of has that look in his face, like, and that's like enough to make I wanted to punch him, dude. I would, like, like, yeah, he would have that jaw would have been broke right there. And I don't know, like a normal person without the pent up rage, they would have just jaw jacked him one time and just stood over him like, "What's up, bitch?" Like that, right? That's like a normal guy who's a fighter would do, right? But a guy with all those years of bent up rage, I'm not even gonna go through all the stuff that he's been through. Like he has mommy issues, daddy issues, head trauma and stuff like that. I watched a couple of his fights, right? Like his pro debut, he lost it, right? But he should have won it. Like he drops the guy in the first round, but he has a hesitation. He doesn't go after the guy how he should have. He should have finished the fight there, like Vitor Belfort style, right? It takes a long time to control that. Vitor's been fighting since he's a little kid. He knows how to turn on and off just like that. He's a pro. He's like one of the best I've seen at that. But yeah, Raja, he's just not that experienced. He doesn't, he's kind of like, he's 25, but some of the stuff he says sounds like a teenager. Like, he's just not that experienced, I guess, or knowledgeable, or no, I guess he's been sheltered, all his life. But yeah, he lived a rough life though. Like his mom was murdered and stuff like that. People don't like talk about that, and you just don't put your hands on people. You never know what they're going through. A guy could just have lost his job. His girlfriend could be cheating on him. His boss could be like, a lot of things could be happening. So you just don't put your hands on people, especially people you don't know. And listen, I think jealousy had a big part of it because look at Stu there. He just sitting down with his big gut, no shirt, unkept hair, a straggly beard, just drinking Pabst Blue Label, smoking Newports, like before he has to go on stage. Let's not pretend like this guy's an angel and stuff like that. People want to like play it like, oh, he's a veteran and he's just working out his PTSD. I'm like, all right, bro. There's a better way of dealing with your PTSD than bullying and assaulting strangers. I don't really buy the whole accent. I thought he was part of the show type crap. I don't buy it. Me personally, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't buy it. Personally, just looking at his body language was very aggressive. I think he just didn't like Raja, and Raja's there. He's like the center of attention. You know, some people just have that star quality. Like Rampage was a big superstar, but I think Raja has a bigger star quality than him. When he walks into a room, like when he went to Rampage's pool party, like all the girls like surrounded him. All the girls surrounded him and are like all fawning over him and stuff like that. And he's very magnetic person. And a lot of times people don't have a sense of boundaries. You know what I mean? And yeah, And Rampage even admit later on, I'm jealous of him on several occasions. Like he makes fun of him a lot, like tries to put him down, says like you ugly, you black, you're vegan, this and that. But he later on admits, yeah, I'm jealous. Like I don't. He's like I don't stand a chance when he's around. He gets all the hussies, right? But I mean, at least he admits his jealousy. Stu was mad jealous. There's a young guy, young enough to be his son, by the way. You know, young guy, good looking, right? Center of attention, funny, charismatic, getting all the shine, getting all the spotlight, camera on him, right? And Stu wants attention. He wants to either steal the spotlight or get attention from Roger or both. And it's fine. The normal people just go around him and just ask him questions. And like that's like a normal person. But he finds his way to like jut into the circle, be like confrontational, get all in his face, try to punk him basically. And yeah, and I also think the promoters are shady. Of course. I said it before anybody else did. Those promoters are shady, and I believe that their initial intention was to get Roger into the show because it's a small little promotion, and this is Rampage Jackson's son, and he has a big star quality. You know, like the Rampage Jackson streams are funny, but when Raj is on there, it is hilarious. Like like I can't even watch it. I laugh too hard. It's like he almost committed attempted murder on me when he called him Rampage Jackson. It was hilarious, right? So there's a right way to get attention and a wrong way. And the promoters wanted him in the show. What is the first thing Black Pearl asked him? He's like, "So you're gonna be a part of the show?" Even though he has zero pro wrestling experience or training, they just want some shine off of him, right? To bring more eyes to the promotion. And he's already helping y'all out by putting you on this live stream and stuff like that, giving y'all. But they wanted him in the show. I know that because after it happened and they calmed things down, what's the first thing Black Pearl says? He's like, "Well, we're gonna make something out of it. We're gonna put you on this stage." And he says something to the other guy in another language, and then Roger's still like, he didn't get his lick back. It's still in him, and his daddy, like he didn't get that fight response. Like when you get that fight flight response, it does a lot to you. It's like you have a lot of hormones pumping. And it's like a toll on your nervous system. It's a toll on your biological system. It's like that impulse doesn't go away. It's still there. He refused the initial handshake. The only reason why he shook his hand is he's like, "Yeah, I'm agreeing to run into your match. I'm not accepting your apology." He's like, I get it, I get it. That doesn't mean I forgive you. That means I know what you about. I know that this was some bullshit. I know that you have some bad mind against me, or some jealousy, or some hate, or whatever. He's like, I get it, right? That's my interpretation of it. So he's like, yeah, I shake your hand. I agree to go into the match. And I think he was being a little bit sneaky. I don't like that part of it. Like he kind of waited until the guy like wasn't looking, and he like just ran up on him and slammed him, right? And that part of it I didn't like. Like I think that's kind of sneaky. It's kind of like a sucker move, sucker punch, sucker slam. He sucker punched his dad. That's just kind of his style, which I don't like. That's the one part that I don't like. But I guess like that's how people do it, like Jorge Masvidal style. Jorge Masvidal talks about sucker punching, and he's like, it's necessary sometimes. And I think that's kind of, they might have a point because I don't believe in sucker punching people. I believe in that Tupac line, look into my eyes before I pull the trigger. Before I put you down, you bow before a big. Mm-mm. So that's how, like, there was Heartless on the hits. Now they want to scream peace after they saw some shit. I'll murder you and run a train on mob sleep. So that's my style. Like, but my style doesn't always play out too well. I never get my lick back because usually I scare them away. They punk me, they punk me, they punk me, and then I'm like, all right, put them up, and then they're like, oh no, oh help me, no. But when they get to a safe place, it's like, yeah, motherfucker, where you at? And this and that, like that crackheaded guy, you know. Ooh. Even after you saw what Roger was capable of, they still gonna follow you down the street and still fuck with you from a safe place. And he has his boys hiding in the shadows there to jump him, and they probably have weapons and stuff too. You know, I don't want to make it like I'm like totally defending Roger, but let's also put blame on the other people too. You can't, like, I've been jumped before, and I understand the jump tactics. Like, let's look at it from this lens. It's all about muscle memory. People, like, you ever heard the saying like you train how you fight? I mean, you fight how you train. So that's how people's muscle memory reacts in times of danger. You always fall back on your training. So in times of like danger, you always fall back on that. So let's look at the situation. So like by the time like we see like Roger throw like more than one punch, I think that's like everybody's like, whoa, something's wrong here, right? So the first ref, like, he's not an MMA ref. He's not Herb Dean. He's not trained to pull you off. He's an actor, right? He's just so his thing is just like that's all he does. He knows how to 1, 2, 3, and that's all he does. He doesn't know nothing. And he's probably scared crapless, you know. And then like the guy with the white and black face paint, you know, he's like trying to do something, but he just doesn't have the strength, experience, or he doesn't know how to get Roger out of that situation because in MMA, your muscle memory is to go until the ref pulls you off, right? And then when you're extra pissed off at somebody, when you don't like somebody, you're gonna you're not gonna want to turn that off. You're not even gonna want to control that impulse. You know what I mean? Like Dan Henderson did to Bisping. Like what's another good example? I just had it. Jorge Masvidal did to Ben Askren. You know what I mean? And like you ain't even trying to control the impulse. You know what I mean? Like some people are different. Like Mark Hunt, he has a lot of trauma. Like he can't stand to see people like being beat down on the ground. So that's why he always walks off KO. But he's like a small exception. Khalil Roundtree, he's a lot older, a lot more experienced, and he's like when he's like about to throw that, he has like enough to pull it back. You know, and that took a lot of training on his years. He's a highly trained guy. He's a grown like Roger's a grown man, but he's still young. He's still green, right? He doesn't know a lot of things. Like when he just doesn't know a lot of things. Let's keep it real. He's been given. Oh, that's another good thing. He's been I'll get back to this point, but let's go back to muscle memory for a second. So Roger's muscle memory is to ground and pound. That's how he trains. He looks just like he's on a training dummy, teeing off on it, right? Train exactly what he's been trained to do. The referee, he's doing exactly what he's been trained to do. The young kid, he has zero training, but just like maybe from breaking up like his friends fighting in the backyard or his own life, he reacted how he was, but he knew that he would get fucked up too if the guy turned on him, so he was a little bit scared shitless too. The pink hair guy, like he was Doug, he responded how he his muscle memory. He pulled he you can tell he has a little bit of wrestling experience and maybe some street fight and then pro wrestling experience. So two types of wrestling, real wrestling and then pro wrestling. So you can tell he knows like a little bit of both, right? So he pulls off Raja and he does like that fake slam thing. I think he even tries to throw him out of the ring, right? To Raja, that's not the same as Herb Dean pulling him off. That's a different stimulus. So he's like, this guy's attacking me too. So he pieces that guy up. And then they get into the body lock position and they're fighting for position. And then the other guys come in like, oh, we should also mention all those other guys who are pussies. Their flight or fight responses to freeze. They're the freeze ones, right? So the guy's kidding. He probably just like he's probably had to break up like maybe his dog's fighting or maybe like something like that before. That's the only experience he has in this situation. Um, and who else is involved? Oh, a crackhead guy. You can tell he has a little bit of wrestling training. You know how they do the little shoulder thing in the corner. So he did that, you know. So they're all holding him up, tying him off. And let me tell you, these guys ain't so innocent either. You can tell that they jump people and shit. Like the crackhead guy and Doug, you can tell that they jump people before because I've been in the same situation. I've been jumped by like five guys before. And what they do is like all the little guys, you like have four little guys like tying you up and holding you down. And then the big guy from the back, I'm just seeing him between all through the heads, and he's picking shots. And I remember he one time popped me right in the face real good. I remember seeing the ring coming at my face, boom, and I saw stars. Yeah, so that's the technique that they do, man. He's doing headbutts, biting. These ain't no nice people either, you know. They've jumped people before. You know, that's a jumping tactic, you know. It is. They've jumped people before, and I don't respect that. And Roger's doing his best. He has the MMA training. He's able to stop most of those. But I mean, they ain't no saints either. But you know, the pink hair guy, he does like his response after was actually good. But I think he is still covering for like certain people, you know. But I mean, it's like it's whatever. It is what it is. Um, what else am I missing? Oh yeah, MMA Guru. He sucks. He's a total trash bag. He's never been in a fight before in his whole life. He doesn't even understand fighting. He's probably never even done a push-up in his life. This loser want to talk about MMA, and he has the worst takes of anybody of all time. Yeah, the only person who actually is able to stop Raja is the actual security guy. You see how he grabs Raja and he's able to like break him out of it, break him out of his trance, you know, because that's his training. He knows how to do that. He's a security guard. He's had that training. The rest of them, like, they don't know what they're doing. We already went over them, you know. So it is what it is. Doug was at least real about it. He's like, you know. So I give him respect and stuff, you know. Uh, yeah. So that was a pretty bad situation. And who else are they going after? Mark Henry, right? Mark Henry is a UFC, not UFC, WWE legend. He actually has a very intelligent take on it. He, and he's not afraid to say what he says. A lot of and the muscle memory of the mob, the muscle memory of the mob. Let's talk about that. They're gonna get all their torches and pitchforks and ask for the worst for him, but they have nothing to say about no civilians being killed in war and all kind of stuff like that. You know, but this guy, we need to make an example out of him. I believe the only reason that is because, you know, it represents them not being able to mess with people. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't go around messing with people. And that's it. You know, the rest of the people, I really don't like their takes. Sean Strickland, I mean, I don't even like Sean Strickland, but I mean, he's been through it before. He has anger management as well. And he brings up a good point about the prison system. Prison is not here to help anybody. It's only to help themselves. You know, you go in there for a crime. It's like college for criminals. You come out like with an associate's. You go back. You come back. You have a bachelor's, and that's it. It dehumanizes you. It makes you a bigger criminal. I mean, there's certain instances where people go into jail, and you know, like the right people talk to them. They read the right books. They find God. You know, they might find a guard or somebody who talks to them. Maybe like some of the older prisoners. You know, they might be able to like talk to them, trying to like set them in the right direction. Like Bernard Hopkins, when he went to prison, you know, the famous line when you walk out of prison, they're like, "See you real soon." The revolving door prisons, they're such assholes. But he's like, "No, you won't." And he went on to be one of the greatest boxers. Everybody talks about the greatest of all time. That's my greatest of all time, Bernard Hopkins. He gave up all the bad habits. He did all the sit-ups, sweat out all the reefers, sweat out all the booze, and just became like the ultimate disciplined guy. Like I went to prison. I went to prison, right? That qualifies as prison county, Houston County, Harris County, right? I was in there for like a week last time, and it actually was good for me. It's like I found God and stuff like that, and I was able to like get away from all the stressors. Like people, like I knew like there's a cinder block wall surrounded by another cinder block wall, surrounded by guards, surrounded by barbed wire and procedures. All the people who mess with me can't get to me. It felt really good. It felt really good, you know. So I think, you know, jail doesn't really do good. It's generally bad. I think it should only be reserved for like the worst people we don't know what to do with. I think I think maybe like if I was a judge, I would say, you know, I give him some time, like maybe like I don't know, no more than 8 months. You know, jail ain't good for you, but just like enough to like just get a space, get some perspective, get away from all the stuff that's messing with you, all the online, even his own dad talking shit to him. You know, all the haters, all the fans, all the internet trolls, all the weirdos around who are not really his friends, just trying to pretend like, just trying to whatever, because he's young, he doesn't really understand like people's intentions really. Maybe subconsciously on a level he might get it, but he don't really know. So I think that might be good. So maybe a short prison sentence. I think maybe like a month, a few months. Let him pay restitution for the victim because he did go too far, right? Like most people will say, like just one punch, right? One slam, one punch. And he knew that was like the appropriate response because he even says it in the chat. He's like, should I punch him first or should I hit him first? He's like, if I hit him first, he'll get knocked out, and then I can't slam him. And you know, he's like the thought process. But then people are rallying him up, rallying him up, rallying him up, rallying him up, rallying. So he's like, you know, and I think somebody really does tell him like, keep going until we pull you off. So that was in his mind. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, fam. Watch this. So he was redlined, and that's unfortunate. He got instigated by, like, same thing like in school. They instigate and like, oh, he said this about you. Oh, I wouldn't take that if it was me. If it was me, what I would have done, right? So, a short jail sentence, not something where it'll like alter his whole mind and really make him a worse criminal, but just enough to get a break from whatever it is outside stressors. Pay the restitution to the dude because that was too far. It really was. Anyway, you slice it. I think that guy's a scumbag. He's out there drinking, smoking cigarettes, bullying some young black kid who has all the shine, out of jealousy, trying to. You can't stand to see that spotlight. You feel entitled for some kind of interaction with him. You're entitled for some kind of fanfare. So, he ain't no saint, right? And don't give me that old veteran bull crap with PSTSD. A veteran, you know, we haven't had a righteous war in so many years. Since Vietnam, the war thing has really gone out of control. The last time we had like an actual righteous war was maybe World War II. All this other stuff has been war profiteering, and then they just put on the per- under the banner of patriotism. I'm a great American and this and that. And I'm like, for what? Because you killed a bunch of civilians? Okay, that's why you have PTSD. Let's keep it real. Not all veterans are heroes. People go to the military for different reasons. Some go, for some have a sense of duty, some family tradition, some think it's like, just like career, like go pay for college, become an engineer or whatever, medic, whatever. And some just go in there because they think it's a video game, and or some people are just really fucked up and just want to kill people and kill them, legally. You know what I mean? So I don't know which one Stu is. But anyways, and I think there should be an amount of community service involved. That's actually what is really helped me when I got in legal trouble. I think community service is the one thing that kind of like helped me get out of my head. It's like rebuilding houses for like people from Hurricane Harvey, and just doing different stuff like that. It kind of like, and you meet different people, you meet good people, you don't meet other criminals, especially if you're an influential person. I met like good people when I was doing volunteering, and then they like kind of like you learn good stuff instead of learning bad stuff, and you're doing something good for people, and it was rewarding seeing the women all happy, like thank y'all so much and this and that, and you build a skill. I learned a little learned how to do drywall, a little bit of this and that, so it was good for me, and it benefited society, right? Which jail doesn't. Prison only helps like these for-profit prisons and anybody who's making money off of that, you know what I mean? And then the big one, yes, you need some anger management, bro. You need some big anger management, and yeah, and counseling. I think family counseling would be a good thing for because Rampage, I mean, he's from old school. He just doesn't know better. I don't think he's a bad guy or bad father. There's a lot worse than him, but um, he's doing things wrong. And I know, like, probably like deep down, he's just doing stuff wrong. Like where he started talking about, like on his streams, he's like, stop calling my son a bitch. My son is not a bitch. And then he'd be like, it's just like he can't control his impulses, and like that's just how it is. Like Yeah. And I don't think he should be the only one punished. Psycho Stu needs to know what he did was wrong. I mean, he got his ass whipped. He got his ass whooped up bad, like way worse than I think he deserves. But you never know what kind of karma he has in his past. And yeah, I'm not gonna go into like bashing the guy. I think that's been done enough. But we can't like paint him as a hero. I'm just a good old boy, war hero, and yeah, I feel sorry for me type stuff. You had it coming, but it was not right. A unconscious man like that. That's against me. I don't do that. But I also don't suck a bunch of people either. But I mean, so a lot of people have things to learn, and I'm not perfect. Who else is involved? The internet trolls in the public, they they need to learn that they can't like. This has to be a lesson that you can't just say whatever you want to say. You can't touch people without their permission. You have to have a sense of boundaries, and because and society is not going to protect you when you mouth off if I go up to John Jones, hit him in the face with a pie, I'd be, hey, I can't say nothing when I get an elbow to the face. You know what I mean? I really can't. Like, I'm not gonna go up to like Francis Ngannou and throw a banana at him. You know what I mean? You should get your fucking ass kicked. And people have been pushing it. Yes. So society needs to learn that lesson, and the prison system needs to change. In the Scandinavian countries, they don't have the recidivism, or however you say that word, that we do over here. They don't dehumanize them. They're not, and I used to see some of the comments. Oh, I hope he becomes somebody's bitch in prison. I hope this and that. It's good that guy kicked him in the head. You know, damn animal, savage, and this and that. That's projection, because you're an animal and a savage. You're trying to dehumanize the guy when you're the one out for blood. If it was wrong for him to seek revenge, it's wrong for you to seek revenge, and that's what prison is really about. It's about revenge. It's about bloodlust. But you don't have the balls to do it yourself. You want the system to do it. You want my taxpayers to do it. I don't mind my taxpayer money going towards like, public works, transportation, health care, things like that. It should stay the hell out of the private economy, only just to maybe be a referee, like regulate things, not to give subsidies, help this business, keep that business afloat, and keep the make barriers to entries so regular people can't start a business, all that stuff, man. I'm more of a libertarian, and yeah, so the government should know its damn place, instead of being over militarized. It's Nazi Germany all over. Y'all fall for the propaganda, the same things over and over. Oh, and here goes the big thing. This is why we have school shooters. We have these quiet kids who are reserved, and they don't say that they're passive. They take crap on a daily basis, and even the system is used to weaponize them. I was a teacher, after they implement the anti-bullying programs. You know what the bullies do? I watched this. They go and they mess with the kid. They mess with the kid. And when the kid retaliates, he's bullying me, miss. Miss, he's bullying me. He's bullying me. And then that kid, he doesn't have the communication or the manipulative skills. So he just has to get punished. And it's just gonna build up from third grade to fifth grade to college. And then one day, somebody who like hits that same stimulus of the people who mess with him, he's not going to be able to differentiate the stimulus, and that's how we get school shooters. You know what I mean? And listen to how like a lot of these school shootings they happen like right when somebody's about to graduate. You know what I mean? So what does that mean? I think maybe it gets ramped up towards the end, but also it's like their revenge. They have to get that revenge, you know? They just can't let it go. You know what I mean? They just can't let it go. They have to get their lick back. You know what I mean? Just like how I had to get my lick back. And even yeah, so through years of practice and stuff like that, I started finding like outlets for my aggression. Like just like how like Rampage is actually really smart. He like he's trying to create an outlet for his kid, and I think one of the reasons why he rips his son a lot is so like if the kid blows up on anybody, he blows up on him. You know what I mean? He's like I can take it, but if he goes out there and like did what he did basically, that's a different story. Not everybody can take. Not everybody knows how to fight. But everybody knows how to talk shit. All right. So my whole thing is like Chael Sonnen. I don't know if I brought up the Chael Sonnen point, but like when he was like disrespecting Anderson Silva, talking about like I'm gonna tell his wife, I'm gonna slap his wife on the ass and tell her to bring me a steak, rare, medium rare, or something like that, and insult his country, insult his teachers, the Nogueira brothers, who are like absolute legends in the sport of MMA, and Anderson Silva's guru, his teacher, not this fucking fat, looking fat, Teletubby ass motherfucker who doesn't know shit about the damn thing he claims to be a guru in, but that's a side thing. So yeah, when Anderson shoulders checked him at the weigh-ins, Chael knew he had it coming. Chael was like, you know what? I ain't even mad. The whole place was in an uproar about it. But he's like, you know what? I had it coming, and I forget. He was like, were you angry? But he's like, I forgave him immediately. You know what I mean? He knew what was up, right? Just like when he was instigating Vanderlei Silva, another bully, right? Another crazy son of a bitch, right? He's like, I can't let you get close. He understands the dynamics of violence. He's like, once we're in this range, we actually have to fight. Everybody likes to quote that, but they don't know what it means, even though Chael explained it. Because, yeah, so people who don't know about violence should probably shut the hell up about it. You know what I mean? Like, I know a little bit. I read body languages. I don't know everything. I'm not like Emmy Lichtenfeld or something like that. But I'm not like the SWAT commander guy. But I know a little bit more than the average Joe does, you know what I mean? Yeah, so society just can't keep going around and like instigating people and be like, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. Why are you going crazy? My favorite thing is watching these prank videos go wrong. Like I remember there's this one guy who's eating a pizza sitting down, and the guy keeps on messing with him, like going to take a bite of his pizza and stuff like that, and he knocks him out. I was like, yes, 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 yes. Oh, and the Actually guy. If y'all don't know about the Actually guy, Google that one. I think there's like this big Jack guy. Probably looks like he's on steroids, but that's neither here nor there. So he's there with his baseball cap, and then the guy comes, a skinny little teenager comes up to him, grabs the hat off his head, and he's like, "Give me my hat back." And he's like teasing him more. He's like, "Give me my hat," and he smacks him. And then the guy's like, "Actually, bro." Actually, he's like, yeah, actually. So people need to learn. You can't go and mess with people. You can't go and poke the bear and expect to be saved by society. Like, I think Armin was talking about an interview with Nina. Like, what's the biggest thing you find weird about America? He's like, how people can just go up to you and tell you whatever and expect nothing to happen. Like, he's like, in Russia you can't do that. He's like, a guy told me F me and stuff like that. And like, he knows he can get away with it, right? But in Russia, in Mother Russia, you get smacked. Like Nick Diaz says, where I come from, people like that get smacked. Yeah. And another thing, like, so like how America is to Russia, that is how Trinidad is to America. When I go to Trinidad, it's like everybody gets. You ever heard a Trinidad person cuss? They cuss you bad. You fucking cunt and this and that and fuck your money and your mother and this and that. And I grabbed this dude and he's like, "What? The boy touched me! The boy touched me! What? I'm like, yeah. Oh, and they have a thing like, I go fuck you up and this and that. I'm like, okay, and I grab him. Fuck you up means cuss you out in Trinidad. In America, when they say I'm gonna fuck you up, that means I'm gonna beat you up. So I'm like, all right, say less. So, Rampage raised his son like how from like what he was from. Like he's raised on the streets of Memphis back in the day. So this dude, he's like, I grew up with this shit, we don't fuck around. And also he did get whipped as a kid. When you get whipped as a child, it does mess up your ability for emotional regulation. It's true. You can't regulate emotions as well. Every psychologist will tell you that. And I'm not gonna say you should never use like corporal punishment, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Like, and most people do it the wrong way. You know. Like with my nephew, I would like I never saw the need to spank him at all. You could always talk to him, and he always listened, and like his clicks in him. He's like, okay, all right, Uncle Joe, you're right. And he's like, okay, okay. Like he gets it, right? You don't have to spank him, right? And like, yeah. So some kids, you know, so it kind of messes you up when you get spanked as a kid too. Like I got spanked. Sometimes I deserved it. Like when I didn't do my homework, I got spanked. I deserved that one. So I'm good at math now. I learned my fractions. But when I was just spanked for like no reason, just for them to take out their anger, oh, I still have it. I'm still a danger, but I've learned to grow above that. So hopefully Raja can too. You know, and hopefully the parents learn better. It's not just Rampage. He's not even the worst parent out there. He just doesn't know any better. You know. You know. That's it. That's just me from the outside perspective looking at it. I see people all the time. So yeah, it takes a lot of training to control those nerve impulses, and society really pushes you. And now everybody got their pitchforks and torches, and I think and listen to the tagline of like 9/11, to protect our way of life. You know what I mean? What does that mean? Our way of life. You know? Fine, eat all the Starbucks and Snickers you want, but fucking with people. You can't go wrong fucking with people. 9/11, as tragic as it was, America did have it coming. Look how many different countries we invaded. You know what I mean? Look how much trouble we caused in Latin America, Middle East, everywhere, and we want to like talk about pointing the finger at them. You know, if maybe you had even just mind help them, or even just mind your own business, 9/11 wouldn't happen. You can't expect to go and like mess with people and nothing that are smaller and weaker than you, and thinking that nothing bad will never happen to you, because sometimes the little guy will stand up and fight back, like the end of Step Brothers. Like, you can't impress people; they'll come back in a fiery rage of vengeance. It's the law of the universe, and the sooner people learn that, the the better it will be. And look at how people can carry themselves. Like Raja, he doesn't. He walks around super respectful, more respectful than I do actually. He doesn't touch people. He don't talk shit to people. He don't even mad eye people. The only people he stared down is like when people were messing with him. They're like some wannabe gangbangers messing with Rampage. People touching him and shit. And yeah, so like, keep your hands to yourself. When you take a picture with an MMA fighter, you don't put your hand around them like they're your girlfriend and shit. I mean, you don't bother them when they're eating. Like that goes with any celebrity, anybody you don't know. You got to be able to read the room. You know. Like it's fine if you're a fan, they'll take a picture with you, but know the time and the place. You know what I mean? Like, don't go and like touch people you don't know, or talk shit, or even stare at them. That's You'll get your ass whipped. And you'll get away with it like 1,000 times, but you'll get away with it, but on 1,001 time, you know, you're gonna get an ass whooping that was meant for the 1,000 people who messed with that person 1,000 times and they got away with it. So you're gonna catch that ass whooping. But I don't feel sorry for you because you messed with 1,000 people before that and got away with it. Everything comes full circle. We can avoid our karma. Like, you can't avoid your karma. It's like Final Destination. You can duck death, right? And you think you got away, but it's not. It didn't go nowhere. It didn't go nowhere. It didn't disappear. It's still there. It went somewhere, but it's gonna come back around, and you can duck it, and you can duck it, but it's gonna get you, son. It will get you sometime or another. The universe will get its lick back.